Okay, by way of context, I placed an order with Surugaya or Surugaya back in 2019, and the order arrived in one box. It was over 150 items. It arrived in one box, and it was a very thin walled box, and one corner of the box had broken open, and some of the stuff was poking out of the box. So I decided that if the shipping reliability from Surugaya is so unreliable, I'll just stick with Mandarake. So 5 years went by and I never made any more orders to Surugaya. But a couple of days ago, earlier this week, I happened to notice that the retailer was running a free shipping sale, including free international shipping sale, and that could potentially save a lot of money, especially for someone like me that doesn't have a lot of money. So I ended up making an order. This particular order was delivered in 3 boxes. According to my tiny little slip of notes here, the entire order was 72,140 yen. That, I believe, at current US exchange rates came up to, I think, $458 US. Now, $458 for me in my current circumstances is a lot, but I'm in credit card debt anyway, so I will pay it off eventually. But I'm pleased that this is actually $458 worth of merchandise instead of, say, $200 of merchandise and $250 worth of shipping. But to offer a little bit more explanation, if you are unfamiliar with Surugaya, Surugaya is a competitor to Mandarake. I don't think Surugaya is quite as big of a company or quite as well known as Mandarake is. The US or international prices for Surugaya are comparable to Mandarake, but a little bit more expensive. However, because everything or most things are secondhand, it is still cheaper than brand new retail prices. Mandarake has a much bigger supply of vintage items. Surugaya offers some vintage stuff, but they skew much more heavily to more recent released items. Surugaya does carry adult merchandise, but does not sell adult merchandise internationally. Surugaya to international customers only general audiences material. Some fields are bigger with one company or the other. Um, for example, household goods, for example, cups, plates, pots, toasters, things like bags and luggage and suitcases. Surugaya has a much bigger selection than Mandarake does. But in other areas, in terms of, for example, Japanese magazines or manga magazines, vintage items, Mandarake has a much larger selection. But at this point, I will get to what I think most of you are here for, which is taking a look at the kind of things that I ordered. So I'll start with the labeled box here, which is the smallest of the three. And pretty much all of these items were for my personal collection. There are, I think, 3 of them in this order, which are a gift for a close friend, I should say. And one is a item that I bought possibly to resell, possibly just to sit on. I am glad to see that Surugaya does now wrap much more securely than they did 5 years ago. So I'm definitely happy to see that. Yeah, there is plenty of wrapping in here to make sure that everything is secure. Alright. Actually, I can move this down. There's only, it looks like only 2 items in here. This is the first item. Let's see if I can open this up. I do not know, or I didn't look up the exact release year for this, but this is a Universal Studios Japan popcorn bucket. So, yeah. Hopefully, viewers can now tell what this is. Hopefully, you are familiar with Hayao Miyazaki's Lupin Chateau de Cagliostro, or Lupin Cagliostro's Castle movie. This is the Fiat with Lupin driving and Jigen driving, with Lupin driving and Jigen riding shotgun. And actually, that doesn't feel like it opens very far. But the front opens, and normally this would be filled with popcorn. And so, yeah, you would carry this around the park. But just because of what it is, I think this is really neat. I appreciate that it's still got the Universal Studios tag on it. Yeah. I don't remember what the exact cost on this was. I want to say this was around 35 or 40 US dollars, which is significantly cheaper than I could have gotten it on eBay. So I was happy to pick this up. I thought it was a really neat item. This, let's see what this is. This might be a variety of stuff. I can get some of this tape off. Wow, that's the top. Okay. This is the other popcorn bucket that I purchased from Surugaya. Wow, that's pretty sizable. Much more so than I expected. Actually, yeah. It's also much more weighty than I expected. Hopefully, as you can see, this is Levy from Shingeki no Kyojin. This is a Captain Levy, also Universal Studios Japan popcorn bucket. The back opens up to hold popcorn. Yeah, this thing is weighty enough that I think if you were carrying this around in the hot sun all day, yeah, I think this Levy figure is solid. So I think this might actually get a little cumbersome if you were actually carrying this thing around all day at a theme park in the hot sun. Now, this one I bought, actually, I think this was probably one of 2 items that I bought possibly to resell at some point, because this one was labeled as damaged. Apparently, it's reported there's a little bit of mold here on his legs. You might be able to see the little white spots, maybe or maybe not. But I'm hoping that possibly I can clean that off. And if I can clean that off, then I'll be pleased. But because this was labeled as damaged, it was only $15 US. So I figured that for 15 bucks, just for the novelty of it, even though I'm not a big Shingeki no Kyojin fan, this is still, the tag is a little bit damaged, but at least it has the tag. Yeah, I thought that was definitely worth the purchase, especially since it was being shipped for free. And on the topic of shipped for free, I will say that this order, I placed this order on, let's see, Monday, May 13th, 2024. I placed the order on Monday. On Wednesday, The 15th, 2 days later, Surugaya sent me an email message that said, "This is a particularly large order, so we want you to confirm it, otherwise we're going to cancel the order." Now, I thought that was a rather strange notification, but this order was smaller than the last order I placed, although the last order was 5 years ago. But I replied, "Yes, this is the correct number and assortment of items. Do please ship the order." So the next day, Thursday, May 16th, 2024, I received a shipping notification saying that the order had shipped, and then I got a DHL notification that the order would arrive next Monday. The very next day, remember, I placed the order on Monday. On Friday, the order arrived midday at my house. So this was 5 days. 5 days from the day I placed the order to the day it arrived at my doorstep. And I paid zero. Well, actually, I paid 500 yen. There was a 500 yen service charge in place of a shipping fee. So $4 shipping is a stellar bargain. I'm glad to see that this is much bigger than I anticipated. And good Lord, what exactly do I have here? I love collecting unique, novel anime items, the kind of anime items that you don't typically get or don't typically see in America. This is a set of Kimetsu no Yaiba chic razors. It's weighty. I thought initially, wait, do these include like audio cassettes? If any of you viewers are old enough to remember what audio cassettes are. But I guess maybe these are the actual razors. But it looks like they come in separate cassette style transparent boxes. Now this was a little bit more pricey. This was like something like $35 US. But then again, considering what disposable razors actually cost at a Walmart or Kmart or supermarket, $35 for 4 of them with extra razors actually isn't unreasonable. And considering what this is, I'm pretty happy to have it. So I think this is pretty darn neat. And the cases form a consistent image too. So I did end up purchasing a bunch of Kimetsu no Yaiba candy tins. I don't think the candies are in these. I believe these are all empty. And unfortunately, because of their stickers on the front of them, viewers, you might not be able to see these especially well. But this one I already had. But because these were about $3 a piece, I ended up buying a duplicate one. Are there more of them in here? They're not sure where they are, but there are more of these, so we'll come to them. We'll come to them as we come to them. I'm glad to see that this is a little bit bigger than I expected it would be. This, a couple of years ago, there was a double feature of a Godzilla movie and a Hamataro anime movie. So there was a promotional campaign of Totoko, Hamataro, and Godzilla with a bunch of merchandise. This merchandise is very popular. It's very difficult to get nowadays. I would have preferred that I get the traditional green Godzilla, but metallic blue was the cheapest and what was available to me, so that's what I purchased. But I am happy to have at least something from the Godzilla Hamtaro cross promotion, just because I think it's super adorably cute. Actually, tape stuck to that. Okay, let me see if I can get this back in here. we got here. This is a wind-up walking jamboard. I'm not sure if I've ever seen one of these before, but I'm aware that this is just a neat novelty little item. I'm sure that most of you have encountered wind-up walking robot toys like this, but this Yotsuba related one just seemed super neat to me. And it was really, really inexpensive. This Natsume Yujin show Nyanko Sensei pouch is a little bit smaller than I expected it to be, but it's also fatter, more padded than I expected it to be. Now there might be padding inside it, I'm not sure, but this was fairly inexpensive, and I thought to myself, well, I could put like tabletop dice in it, or perhaps coins or something in it. So I thought it was cute, so that's why I bought that. Okay, I'll come back to that. This, if I can get this open, I don't know much at all about the Dagagan manga series. I believe it's getting an anime, but this little Dagagan purse had an attractive looking character on it. The purse itself, apologies for the coughing. The purse itself was only about like $2, so that's why I picked that up. Okay, this, I'm pretty sure I know what this is. This, if this is what I think it is another item that is, in this case, smaller than I anticipated. But I will still take it anyway. Yes, this is a one-piece Nami stirring stick. Now, I was hoping it would be much longer than this is. I suppose in a typical Japanese style cup it works just fine. Yeah, I was hoping it was longer, because then if it was longer I would actually use it. With this length I don't know that I'll use it, but this was only like $1 or $2. So at that price, I think it's simply a neat item to have. Because, you know, as I mentioned, I like collecting really unusual sort of anime items. This is sealed up well enough that I'm not going to bother to open it up. But apparently this is a Circle K Japan Astro Boy glass cup. I don't know if you can see beside the sticker, the Astro Boy logo on it. But I mentioned that I had a friend that I was doing a gift this to. I had a friend who was in the process of collecting novel and interesting glassware to host housewarming parties with. So this one is a donation for him. This also, let's see, can we get a good look at this or not? I'm not sure if we can get a look at. Alright, this one is going to be a little bit more difficult to get into than I remembered than I thought. This one is a Macross F. I believe this is a Ronka. I believe this is a Ronka cup, glass cup from Macross F. This one also hopefully is a little bit taller. The box is a little bigger. Again, this one is a Monogatari series. You may or may not be able to tell through the packaging and the glare and the image, but Monogatari series glass cup as a donation to a friend. This is actually, it would help if this is simply it's a little wider than I expected it to be. This is Yes, a Velcro wallet. It is a Dojin item. I believe these are original characters, but they're really cute. So this was only like $1 or two. So I thought to myself that, well, it's cute, so I will buy it and possibly replace the current wallet that I use with this one. Are they in separate boxes? Alright, possibly in separate boxes. I did order 2 Luminista figures. This one is Freyren from Sosono Freyren. I also ordered the matching Fern, so I'll leave her up there for now. No, I can't say that I'm a huge fan of the Chainsaw Man franchise. Particularly early on, I thought Power was a little bit underutilized, but I do like her characterization, and I'm aware that there are a bunch of Power figures, but this one was available very inexpensively. This was, I don't remember, this was like $8 or less than that. So this is one that I will open up and put in my display case. I am glad, tentatively, to see this Nadeshiko figure from Eurocamp might be bigger than I expected it to be. I don't know that there are very many great looking Eurocamp figures, but I do like Eurocamp very much. I did at one point buy the Rim figure, but I didn't realize when I purchased it how tiny it would be. So I'm glad to see that this Nadeshiko figure at least is going to be a little bit bigger than that. I was tentative about purchasing this Spy Classroom Thea figure. I didn't watch all that much of Spy Classroom. I was frustrated by the fact that the story just felt like it was literally going nowhere. It just felt like it was repeating the same prequel story over and over, episode after episode after episode. And I believe that in what I saw, Thea only wore this dress very, very briefly. But I went to a local store that had this figure, and I realized it's a pretty sizable figure, pretty attractive looking. So this was under $10 shipped. So I decided, okay, even though I'm not especially familiar with the character, the figure is nice and cheap enough that it's worth putting in my display case. I have an Albedo figure already in my display case. This is a Albedo in nighttime lingerie figure. This, I believe, was $8 US. I don't know that I will keep this one. I bought this one actually, it might have been less than that. This was either $5 or $8. But in either case, it was cheap enough that I thought to myself, at that price, I will buy it and either keep it or possibly resell it at some local convention. This Getsuman Toheki Mina Shikijiki, or Ultimate Weapon Mina, Lunar Rabbit Weapon Mina pencil board is actually, I believe this is a magazine Furoku. I believe this is a magazine insert. But otherwise, I'd never seen a Getsuman Toheki Mina Shikijiki before. So this one was actually a little bit more expensive. This one was like $4 or $5. I usually like paying a little bit less than that for Shikijiki, but I'd never seen one before, so I decided I wanted this one. This, I wasn't exactly even sure what this is, but this is a cosplay doujinshi Naruto. I thought this might be some kind of underlay Shikijiki. Apparently it's a plastic folder, but I hesitated on it, but ultimately I thought, well, it's sexy looking. I think it's kind of neat. I don't know exactly what the story is behind it, but it kind of speaks for itself. And so with the price that I paid for it, very inexpensive, I decided this is worth me buying. This item, I love the idea of practical anime items, like anime razors are one thing, but also prop items, items that are relevant to the show. So this, as you can see, is a Eurocamp campfire cooking pot. It's a little bit small, but you could put this over a campfire if you were to put, for example, dish soap on the bottom of it to keep ash from staining the bottom of it. You could put like one serving of rice in there, maybe, and some water or some vegetables. So this was about 15. I want to say this was around 15 US dollars. But there are a lot of Eurocamp camping goods. A lot of them are expensive, so that's why I don't have a lot of them. But I just like the idea of Eurocamp, actual practical functioning camping goods. Okay, this may be difficult to see. Sir, I think there's. This is a Robin. Yeah, this is a Robin trading coin. You can see that it comes in a bag. The bag is a little hard, so there might be a card in there as well. I'm not sure. I don't collect plastic coins or tokens. I don't collect wooden ones. But I do have to say that I like the idea of metal ones. I think that metal coins, for example, challenge coins, arcade tokens, trading coins like this, commemorative coins, when they're metal, even if it's cheap pot metal, cheap zinc, or cheap aluminum, they just have a sort of permanence to them. They have a sort of weight to them, and I appreciate that. So I believe this was one of 2 or 3 one-piece coins that I purchased. This is another one. This one is, yes. All right, so it must have been probably 3 of them. No, maybe 2 of them. This one, I admit, it will be difficult to tell. But this one has Nami. It actually has half of Nami's face on it. But this one has Nami's face on it. I don't remember if I bought the Chopper one or not, but I definitely bought Robin and Nami. Come back to that. So, I put the heaviest box on the bottom, and trying to lift it like that reminds me of how heavy this is. But, yeah, actually, let's see some more practical item to open this box. I imagine, yes, actually, I know for certain, the print items, for example, the magazines and books are in this box, which explains the weight on this box. Okay. All right. You will remember that I mentioned that I bought the Freyren. There is the matching fern. I was surprised that these were available, considering how recent these were, but apparently because they are recent, Surugaya had multiples of these in stock, so I didn't have any problem getting them. Wow, now this is pretty darn neat. Some of you, if you've been around in the manga and anime community for a long time, you may remember that back in the early 2000s, there was a publisher called Gutsoon that published Raijin Comics in America. The appeal of Raijin Comics was that it was a Japanese company that was going to print manga directly in magazine format to America. Now, I knew that there was a Japanese version of Raijin Comics, but I'd never actually seen it. However, Surugaya had a copy of the first issue of the Japanese edition of Raijin Comics. Now, what's even more neat about this is that it includes the magazine, but it also includes a Hokuto no Ken, Fist of the North Star, Kenshiro figure. Now, this, I don't think there's a price on this. I don't think I remember, but I think in US dollars, this was something like $1.50 or like $2. This was absurdly cheap. So I'm really happy to have this. I think this is really just a neat item in terms of manga collecting. To me, yeah, I really, really dig this. Especially now that I know what it covers, what it includes and entails. A number of years ago, we got the UCC Evangelion coffees. There were so many of these that I think if you were an international buyer, especially, it would have been impossible to collect all of these. I have, I think, I have a couple of them, but I was never able to acquire any of the sets with the coffee and figures. 2 of these came in. These, I think, yeah, 1,800 yen. These were close to 15, 12 or 13 or 14 or $15 like that, something like that, US price. But I thought just from the novelty of it, I was happy to have them regardless. I think these are promotional ones. I believe these are packaged away there. I don't know actually if these actually, given how light they are, I don't think these have actual coffee in the cans. So I don't know if they've been opened or if they were simply distributed with empty cans. I'm not sure. But either way, they make great display items, which is what interested me about them. Here's another one of the Kimetsu no Yaiba candy tins. I was surprised, I have been surprised for a couple years now by the extent to which the Nendoroid case parts are rather collectible and expensive. Actually, I just peel it off. This is the Nendoroid pink dinosaur face parts case. I'm not sure if it's very obvious by looking at it that it actually is a pink dinosaur, but that's what it is. I don't know if it shows up in camera or not, that I already have 2 of the Nendoroid face parts cases up here. Now, I probably will not put this one up beside these 2, but I was able to pick up the pink case and an extra Nendoroid face for about $10 all combined. These cost me about $10-12 a piece when they were new. Now these cases alone are like $50 a piece, which stuns me. But I think those are just cute little items to have. I have the Q plastic socket boa figure. You may be familiar with what the guy is, but I did not have a conventional figure of Boa Hancock. This one was about $10, so it's an attractive looking figure. And I figured at the price, I don't mind picking this one up to put in my display case. I only watched the first, I think I only watched the first episode of Shy. Yeah, I don't believe I got past that. So I'm not sure that I'm familiar with this particular character from the anime series Shy. However, this figure was $3. So I figured it was so cheap that if I don't want it and don't keep it, I might be able to trade it or sell it off somewhere. It was so cheap that I just couldn't refuse. I just couldn't pass this one up. I mentioned that I bought a bunch of Kimetsu no Yaiba candy cases. This was a... I don't remember if this was the second series or the third series, but this was a complete run of all 6 cans in the series. And while the individual ones were about $3 a piece, this set averaged out to about $1.50 a piece. So that's why I bought these, because it's a complete set. They were so cheap that I could not resist them. Okay. This is a Pascom Paradise Furoku figure. Actually, I might be able to get this out without causing too much harm. Alright. I'm going to... Actually, where's her head? It may be difficult to... There's her back. I am censoring her front. And there's her head. I guess just because this is just strictly nudity, it doesn't count as an adult figure. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting novelty. The price was very affordable. I don't remember exactly what the price was, but it was pretty cheap. So, yeah. That kind of speaks for itself. I think the rest of this order is print material. I am glad to see that this copy of Monthly Big Gangan is in good shape. I believe I have 4 copies of this magazine already. This is cover dated June 2022, which means this was probably released May of 2022. At that time, because this is the first appearance of the Mandalorian manga, strictly speaking, this is the worldwide first comic appearance of Grogu. I ordered 4 copies of this through Amazon Japan. I noticed at that time I ended up paying about $15 a piece for them after the shipping cost. This copy was only $2 US shipped. So it is my 5th copy, but at $2 there was no reason for me not to buy it since shipping was free. This particular, is this a, where's my notes? Which magazine was this? Gekkan, okay, this is Gekkan Shonen Magazine. Gekkan Shonen Magazine from 2021. This magazine, as you can see here, contains the first chapter. This is the first chapter, first appearance of Fujio Omori's Wand and Sword Wistoria manga series. This is the current fantasy manga series from the author of Danmachi, the author of Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon. Wistoria, I know, is getting an anime TV series next season. I have read some of the manga, not my favorite, but I don't mind it. This first appearance was very, very inexpensive. I think it was $3, so that's why I picked this up, just for the novelty, the sake of having it. I am hoping that this is the issue that I want. This particular issue of Fellows Magazine, issue 16D, should be the first commercial appearance of Hakume to Mikochi. The Hakume to Mikochi manga was originally published as a college project, so I think it's debatable whether or not that really counts as a first appearance. But in terms of a first published appearance, this is the issue that I believe is supposed to contain the first appearance. Let's see if I can flip through this quickly and see if it's in here or not. I'm hoping it is. I've been looking for this magazine for a couple years now. I have never yet found a copy in stock at Mandarake. So when I noticed that a copy was available from Surugaya, I made sure to pick it up. I have not seen it in here yet. There it is. Yeah, I am pretty confident that this would probably be, this debatably could be considered the first appearance of Hakume Tomikochi. I really, really enjoyed, I'm a little behind on reading the manga, but I really enjoyed, or have enjoyed the anime and read that manga series. So I'm really happy to finally have that magazine. This particular issue of Good Afternoon magazine is the first appearance of Uchi wa Shisho wa Shippo Ganai, or My Master Has No Tail. The anime series from, I want to say last year, was cute. I didn't quite love the anime as much as I hoped I would, but getting the first appearance of the manga for like $2, yeah, I don't mind picking up the first appearance of the manga when it was that inexpensive. This particular issue of SF magazine, this is, can I tell? This is a 1980, this is the March 1986. This is the March 1986 issue of SF magazine. This is not a manga magazine. This is it's the equivalent of a Japanese pulp magazine. It's all prose text stories. But it is labeled on the spine as Dirty Pair. This particular magazine, my understanding is that this issue contains the last of the original Haruka Takachio. This magazine contains the last chapter of Haruka Takachio's original Dirty Pair novelizations. This was only like $2. So if my friend in Japan happens to motivate and mail me the 77, I think it's 1977 issue that he's holding on to me for me that has the first appearance of Dirty Pair, I will now have the first and last original text Dirty Pair chapters. Speaking of Dirty Pair, speaking of Dirty Pair, out of all of the magazines that have Dirty Pair covers, I have all of them now. I had all of them except 2. This was one of the ones that I did not have. So now I am down to just one anime magazine left with a Dirty Pair cover that I do not own. This is actually the Furoku that goes inside this magazine. For odd reason, most anime retailers sell them separately. I was fortunate that both of them happened to be in stock at the same time, so I was able to buy the Furoku and the magazine, so I can put this inside the magazine, and now I'm still looking for just one more Dirty Pair cover. Just because they were available, I purchased 4 Japanese Superman issues. I believe these are from the late 70s. Do they have a price on them? 1978? Yes, 1978. I believe that one of these was $8. I think the other ones were $3. I believe on eBay these typically list on eBay for $40. Anime is my first collecting field. Comics is probably my second collecting field. I'm not a huge Superman reader or fan, but just because they were available inexpensively, I picked those up. Also, the first volume of the Japanese X-Men trade was available. This is, I believe this is Jim Lee era. I think this is Jim Lee era X-Men translated into Japanese. I know foreign comics are pretty popular among American collectors. This also was very, very inexpensive, so I picked that up, possibly to trade or resell at some point in the future. This is a magazine, Furoku. I do not have the magazine this came out of. However, I'm not too terribly concerned about it because this is why I wanted it. Both Surugaya and Mandarake sell just this booklet separately instead of selling it with the magazine that it originally came in. The original magazine that it came in does not have Dirty Pair on the cover, so I don't really care about owning the original magazine. I just want the little interior booklet with a Dirty Pair cover. Actually, I'll save that for... I have one copy of this issue of Manga Time Kirara Max already. This is my second copy, but this was very inexpensive. This is only $2 or $3. This particular issue contains the first appearance of the Kiniro Mosaic manga series. I really enjoyed the anime, so when I can pick up the first appearance of the manga so cheaply, I'm happy to do so. This issue of New Type magazine was a little bit more expensive. This one was 20-something US dollars. By American standards, not too bad, but I wanted this one. This is the first appearance of Mamoru Nagano's 5-Star Stories. Many of you will know the 5-Star Stories was serialized as a manga in New Type. This is the issue from, I believe, what, 86? Yes. This is the issue from April 86 that contains the first chapter of 5-Star Stories. And then the last item is the first issue of Lyrica magazine. I don't know how long this magazine ran. I've only seen 2 issues of this, so I don't know if it was canceled very quickly. But this particular magazine is notable, perhaps you can see from the top corner. This magazine is the first appearance of Osamu Tezuka's Unico. Unico is one of the relatively iconic anime characters. It's associated with Sanrio. I don't know if Sanrio published this magazine or not. But this was a little bit more expensive. I think this was about $40 US. But considering how iconic Unico is, I'm pretty happy to be able to acquire this, even at $40. So, that's what I picked up. Any of you that are even in passing familiar with me will know that I am not especially active online, not especially active on social media. So you are absolutely welcome to leave any comments on the YouTube video. You can leave likes or dislikes if you want. It really doesn't affect me. This video is not monetized. I just do this as a hobby. I hope that I can keep you entertained. Should you want to contact me for any reason, I will try my best to respond in a prompt fashion. This is the most effective way to contact me should you want to. So if you have any questions or any comments, feel free to send them my way. Otherwise, I hope that if you've been bored, this video has shown you some interesting stuff and kept you entertained for a little while. So until I talk to you again, I hope you have good fortune. Bye-bye.